Halo Reach is finally here, and it's a good time to be a Halo fan. It's also a good time to improve those skills so you can take down the competition. Today's video is all about tips to improve at sniping. We're going to look at high-level gameplay from 3 different players across different peripherals as well. We've got a mouse and keyboard player on mouse and keyboard, we got a controller player on mouse and keyboard, and we got a controller player on controller. If you guys like these breakdowns and you find them helpful, let me know in the comments below and show your support by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. And now that I've said that, let's get right into the breakdown.
I killed 1 too, there's 3 dead.
All dead, all dead, all dead, all dead.
They're gonna spawn side, snipe.
There's sniper side 1.
Got 1.
Nice.
Got 2.
Yo, all sniper side, 2 more.
They have snipes.
You got this, guys, you got this.
Following pace, following pace.
Just take it, base.
Got another.
Oh my god, bro. Pace,
I'm insane!
I'm going on flag.
Step 1 to land snipes like this is positioning and spawn awareness. Right now, Summit has the snipe on green. They just slayed the enemy team in their flag, and his teammate Pack is now running that flag across the stage and through the long hole on Summit's left. This activity will block the spawns on this side of the map and force spawns over the courtyard on the right, and Summit is aware of this. You can hear it in the callouts. He knows where the enemy's going to be before they get there, and he's in a great position to do something about it.
All dead, all dead.
They're gonna spawn snipe.
There's sniper side 1.
Got 1.
Nice.
Got 2.
Take note of the discipline in these first 2 shots. He has the awareness to check the courtyard spawns, but he's caught in the middle of a reload when he does. Instead of staying out in the open waiting for the reload to finish and going for a hard shot where he could be descoped, he opts to back up into cover instead. But he's still watching the player, he's predicting his movement, and then lining up his reticle in advance of the player, and now he's giving himself a reactionary advantage to hit that first shot. On top of the fact that Monkeys goes for a bad nade and gives him free timing to work with. Now, of course, by firing that shot, he's revealed his position to the other spawners. So watch how he makes the smart decision on the second challenge. He opts to go for a jump challenge with a perfect lineup in that reticle, and he's jumping diagonal backwards, giving him a higher angle and more time to land the shot, while at the same time not overcommitting himself and throwing himself too far out of cover that he can't move back quickly.
Side 1.
Got 1.
Nice.
Got 2.
Yo, all sniper side, 2 more.
They have snipes.
You got this, guys, you got this.
Following pace, following pace.
Just take it.
You can see a bit of Summit's CSGO background here. He's very efficient with his scanning and reticle placement in between shots. He never wastes time with his reticle in dead space. He's always predicting and looking at locations where enemies could be. Watch, back ramp, low tower, back ramp, door. So he's always looking where he needs to, and then that snapshot to finish it off.
Just take it, base.
Got another.
Oh my god, bro.
These shots are a perfect example of how deadly a mouse can be in Halo. You're capable of pinpoint accuracy, while at the same time you have intimate control of your reticle's acceleration. So you can go from scoping in to very quickly and decisively landing a headshot on a player, while at the same time you have the flexibility to slowly and precisely track and land that nice headshot no scope, and the results are just so satisfying. I can't wait to see what the community does with this, and of course, you can't have a good clip without a nice pop-off.
Get base.
Got another.
Oh my god, bro. Pace.
I'm insane!
I'm going on flag.
In clip number 2, Lethul decides to pick up a mouse, waves it around wildly, claiming he's Shroud, and of course, he hits a beautiful clip. This is a perfect example of how fundamentals built on controller translate directly to mouse and keyboard.
Killed.
Mouse and keyboard, I'm Shroud.
Yeah, get off keyboard. I see your guy literally spinning past all hell.
Me?
Oh my god. Oh, TJ.
Oh. Wait, you're playing with the keyboard?
Closet. Get in.
Blue? Dude, you're drunk. I don't know, bro. I'm not listening to you.
Dude, you're disgusting. Oh my god.
Blue.
I just 3 shots.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. You are so freaking good, man.
Dude, I hate you. That you just killed my vibe.
It's interesting seeing muscle memory used in landing controller flicks being applied to a mouse. And this is just speculation, so bear with me here, but I find that typically on controller, if you scope in the reticle and it lands just above the enemy's head, kind of like this, instead of flicking downward to land the shot, players tend to loop the reticle around for the headshot. And that's exactly what Lethul does in that first shot. He loops it around to hit the shot. And you'll see another controller-like setup for the second shot as well. And it happens quickly, so we'll make sure to slow it down. But as he scopes in here, he manages to line up the reticle on the body and then takes an extra second to readjust to head level so he can flick laterally, because we know on controller it's easier to flick laterally than it is to flick up or down. So he's directly applying his experience on controller to land these confident headshots on mouse and keyboard,
I see your guy literally spin past.
as opposed to Summit, let's say, who is flicking in from different angles.
Spawn snipe.
There's sniper side one.
Got one.
Take it base.
Got another. Oh.
Yeah, get off keyboard. I see your guy literally spin past. Oh hell.
Me?
Oh my god.
Lethul showcases some great Halo sniping fundamentals here. He starts by lining up that reticle at head level, which is great for setting up the shot, but then he scopes in, fires the shot, and misses. What matters most about this moment is how he reacts to missing. Because he has full shields, he decides to wait in place instead of backing down, and he's waiting for two things. One, he's waiting for the enemy to descope him, and two, he's waiting for an opportunity to line up that second shot with confidence. But that first wait is so important, and so many low-level players will fall for this time and time again. In Halo, when you scope in, if you get shot, you get descoped, and typically scope is on toggle as well, so you got to click it on and click it off. If you try to descope yourself in this situation, what usually happens is the enemy will shoot your scope off the moment you try to descope yourself. So you end up rescoping yourself completely unprepared to fire a shot. Lethul is smart here. He lets himself get shot, and he knows with confidence that he will be descoped, and all he has to do, because his reticle is already at head level, is use his movement to follow the strafe of his opponent and line up that shot. He doesn't even need to move the mouse. He lets the enemy do the work.
Past. Oh hell.
Me?
Oh my god. Oh, TJ.
Wait, you're playing with the
As he reloads here, watch the reload. The moment that the bullets enter the chamber in the top right-hand corner, so right there, if you switch weapons, frame perfectly, switch weapons twice, it'll cancel the rest of the animation and allow him to bring up his scope nice and quick to line up that shot for the triple kill as well. Such a great display of fundamentals.
Closet.
Blue? Dude, you're drunk. I don't know, bro. I'm not listening to you.
It seems like he is listening, though. Of course, spawn awareness is so important in landing those follow-up kills, and spawns in Nexus are a little weird at times, but in this situation, Lethul is predicting a red closet spawn. Even though they just slay the enemy team red, his entire team is located on the blue side of the map, so he's thinking red closet is open, which makes sense, but Royal 2 makes the smart decision to call out blue closet, and that's because Royal 2 recognizes that this teammate 117 is currently rotating away from blue closet into the open hill. This combination of slaying enemies on red plus this teammate's decision to leave blue closet to rotate to hill will open up that blue closet spawn. So smart awareness there to be ready for this spawn. Of course, spawns in this game are affected by a number of things. Your team's influence, your enemy team's influence, where you're looking, where you're shooting, where you're nading. So it's something I'll have to touch on in a future video, but it's smart that Lethul adjusted and changed his position from top mid down to this blue hill to make himself unpredictable and land these final shots.
Dude, you're disgusting. Oh my god.
That fade back headshot was so sick, and he comes in with so much confidence too, jumping backwards, hardly any room for error here, and he still manages to pinpoint that headshot. The only thing, apart from the raw skill required to do this, the only thing I can imagine allows him to hit that with such confidence is just his experience hitting shots from an angle like this time and time again, knowing that if he jumps from that position, he will have a head level opportunity to line up a shot. You should always try to be aware of situations like that so that when you come into those angles and those opportunities, you know what you're going to see. You don't have to hesitate. You know you're going to be at head level. You know you can line up a shot.
God.
I just 3-shot.
Oh my god.
Lethul might be less familiar with mouse and keyboard, but he lands those final shots with confidence, and it once again comes down to his ability to apply his knowledge in Halo fundamentals to give himself advantages in this fight. The key to landing these shots was all in his strafe. Watch how he uses his strafe to match the movement of the enemy player, so all he has to do on the mouse is make micro adjustments to follow that player's movement. He's not going for difficult, fancy flicks. He's just using his movement to give himself advantages so that he can follow confidently. And it's so smart. He applies it throughout the clip. Of course, Lethul makes it look easy. He's not going to pop off. APG will do it for him.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You are so freaking good, man.
Dude, I hate you. That you just killed my vibe.
We'll finish things off today with a slick overkill from Vetoed on controller, showcasing incredible speed in his timings between entering scope and the flick shot.
Killing spree. Double kill. Spree.
Nice mid rock.
Oh, let's go, dude. Let's
Challenge me, you what? I didn't get to hear the end of that. It just cuts off right there. I'm guessing he was going to talk trash, and he probably should. That was nasty.
Killing spree. Double kill.
Some good awareness at the start of this clip. He'll push up and finish off the one shot, while at the same time he'll spot a second enemy in the background pushing over to rocks. But Vetoed his one shot as well, so he makes the smart decision to not challenge this, take a mental note of where he's going, push up into ring 2 while his shields come back, while at the same time addressing his own jump up, which is smart. I'm gonna guess that he got a call out before this clip, but even if he didn't get a call out, always be aware of those red X's on your map where your teammates are dying so you can predict where the enemy might be. So he's prepared for a second and then hesitates, has to look back, and still manages to flick that reticle on him and get that shot. And it's such a great shot, mainly because of the timing between him entering scope and then swiping. He does that so quickly, and it's not a quick scope. He is just clicking that right stick to scope in and then immediately swiping onto that player. And of course, it's Vetoed. He's done this time and time again. He's very experienced. He can do this naturally, but I feel like there's a bit of a method to the madness here. You should always be so aware before you scope in. You should always be so aware of where that scope is going to land if you want to swipe with confidence like that. So it's almost like you're zooming in with your eyes before you actually zoom in. But right here, before he zooms in, he has to know in his mind where that scope is going to land. He's never surprised when he gets into scope, so that when he scopes in, he knows exactly how he needs to flick to land the shot. So even before he's entered that scope, he's already ready to land that flick and hit that shot. And he can do that more confidently because he knows where that scope is going to land. For this shot, you can see that kind of looping motion I brought up earlier in Lethul's clip, where on controller, if you scope in and the reticle is just above the enemy head, instead of flicking straight down, players tend to loop it around and bring it lateral for the headshot, kind of like this. It kind of loops around and goes into the player's arm, and you can see it again in slow motion. But to be honest, looking back on it, I think what I was looking for was some sort of consistent pattern in the way that good snipers make micro adjustments with their reticle to hit shots at certain angles, but I feel like I'm reaching. I feel like that's not really what matters, because great flicks can be hit from any direction. I feel like what really matters is just your confidence in your follow-through.
Nice mid rock.
Oh, let's go, dude.
And speaking of confident follow-throughs, what a sick headshot to finish it off. And first, he can spot that player before he drops, so he has an idea of what to look for when he hits the ground here. Note that right when he hits the ground, he's already setting up his reticle at head level as he walks around with the snipe, which is so important to consider when you're walking around, to always have that snipe at head level so you're as ready as possible, as early as possible. Same type of thing with the scope as well. Scoping in and intimately understanding where that scope is going to land even before you scope in, so that the moment you do scope, you know exactly where to flick. You can do it quickly and confidently. Such a great clip from Vetoed.
Nice mid rock.
Oh, let's go, dude.
And that's all I got for today. It's just nice to have some new awesome Halo clips to break down and some new faces playing Halo as well. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like Halo is back, baby. That's a good feeling to have. I hope you guys are feeling that as well. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these tips and tricks, if they were helpful for you. And until then, I'll see you next time.